Okay, as we close this week out in trade, let's examine the global cues from last night. Now, the US continued to have a bit of a muted session. Let's remember we're still awaiting stimulus talks. There's no concrete resolution on the further stimulus that's going to come. In the meanwhile, the House has passed a one-week federal spending extension to avoid shutdown through December 18th. And this is an attempt to buy more time until a stimulus agreement is reached. So in the backdrop of that, the Dow once again slid off 69 points or 0.23%. The S&P was also down 0.13%. The Nasdaq recovered some of the losses from the huge 200-point fall we saw yesterday, but still closed the day up only around 0.54%. Now, futures on the Dow are currently up 44 points and Nasdaq and S&P futures are pretty much flat. So no major positive or negative action coming out of the US market. If we look at how Asia is performing this morning, it's mixed. The Nikkei fell in early trade 0.24%. The Topix was up in early trade 0.2%. Australia's ASX fell 0.4% in early trade, while the Kospi bucked the trend upward, massive 0.9% opening gain, currently 0.85% higher. This is on the back of the fact that the semiconductor sales saw exports jump 26.9% YOY as far as the month of December is concerned. So those semiconductor stocks also doing very well and taking the Korean market slightly higher. Now, Europe yesterday closed lower. Investors are tracking two major developments. One is the ECB's latest policy announcement, which saw banking stocks tumble. They're going to make some changes to the bond buying program, but they are going to allow for increased federal support. So that's one thing. The second thing is the Brexit talks, right? So that as well is underway. Banking stocks tumbled, like I told you, with oil and gas stocks were the only ones to buck the trend. They were up 1.5% because Brent crossed $50 per barrel. Talking about Brent crossing $50 per barrel, oil surged for the first time to that level since March. Brent gained $1.40 or nearly 3% to 50.25, and that's where we closed. It's not that we flirted with it and came back. We closed above $50. US WTI settled $1.26 or 2.8% higher at $46.78 per barrel. So even WTI is nearly getting there, another 10%, and they'll be above 50 as well. Oil gained after US oil inventories actually showed a 15.2 million barrel increase, while analysts had expected a 1.4 million barrel drop. So it seems that despite higher inventory levels, traders are not worried because they can now clearly see that the world is returning to normal. Gold eased on the converse end of things, failed to climb above 1850. Spot fell 0.4% to 1832 per ounce, and US gold futures settled down 0.1% at $1,837 per ounce. SGX is currently showing a mild recovery from last evening, but no major gains noted for the Nifty today.